I felt like, they had like, a whole lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in, because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do.
She's 28, she's from Maryland, and she says she's been living in the shadows her entire life. Now, she's stepping into the spotlight with a bombshell claim that could shake Jay-Z's empire to its core. Her name is Letitia Macer, but on Instagram, she goes by something far more loaded, Jay's first daughter. And yes, you heard that right. The woman is claiming to be the biological daughter of none other than Sean Carter himself. Not a fan, not a distant cousin, his actual daughter. And her evidence? She says she's got DNA to back it up.
Jay-Z, I heard that no one really wanted to sign him when you were shopping him around the record labels. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was, I want to say, I don't know, 90, 91 maybe. We was, Jay, we recorded some songs, probably about 4 or 5 songs on Jay-Z, and shopped them to several different record labels, and they all passed.
It all started with a raw, emotionally charged post where Macer declared, "I've been quiet for far too long." In her own words, she's been living in a city where everyone allegedly knew Jay-Z was her father, yet she grew up without acknowledgement, without support, and with a mother slowly losing her battle to a chronic illness. While her mom, reportedly bedridden from multiple sclerosis, faded from the vibrant woman she once was, Letitia says she stepped up, juggling motherhood herself, working 2 jobs, and going to school. All of this, she claims, while hiding the truth that had been whispered for decades in her neighborhood, that she's the unspoken branch of hip-hop's royal bloodline.
I can only say as a father that I hope I instilled with them the values that they would want to look for in a man. And I think I did when Beyonce wrote on her, I think it was her first album, maybe it was the second one, the song Daddy, that she hoped that she found someone just like her daddy.
According to her family, this isn't a recent delusion. They insist this story began long before Beyonce ever came into the picture. In fact, Macer's aunt has gone public saying she was the one who introduced Jay-Z to Letitia's mother back in the early 90s, before Rockefeller, before the platinum plaques, before the billion-dollar deals. She swears they had a real relationship, not a backstage fling, not a wild rumor. And as if that wasn't enough, she posted receipts, names, places, timelines. There's even a claim that they tried contacting Jay-Z at the Rockefeller headquarters when the pregnancy was discovered, only to be stonewalled at the gates. But here's where things take a darker, more complicated turn. A former associate of Jay-Z, rapper Oschino from State Property, alleges that Jay-Z didn't just know about Letitia, he's been secretly supporting her for years. According to Oschino, there's a house in Cambridge, Maryland, paid for by Jay-Z, where Macer reportedly lives. But it wasn't a no-strings kind of arrangement. The unspoken rule? No pictures of him allowed in the home, no public connection. Keep the legacy clean, the image untarnished, and the Carter's picture-perfect brand intact.
To be very honest, right? So Jay-Z had a bunch of kids in the tri-state area.
So what changed? Why is Letitia coming forward now? One theory making the rounds, one that's gaining traction fast, is that she simply had enough of being hidden, enough of the silence, enough of watching the Carter children live in public luxury while she exists in the margins. And if this sounds familiar, it should, because this revelation is ripping open an old wound that Jay-Z has spent years trying to suture shut. The still unresolved case of Armir Satterthwaite. You remember Rymir? He's the man who's been battling Jay-Z for over a decade, claiming to be his son from a 1,990s fling with a woman named Wanda. She passed away in 2019, but before her passing, she named Jay-Z as the father in a sworn affidavit. Rymir says all he wants is the truth, but Jay-Z has allegedly done everything in his power to avoid a court-ordered paternity test, moving jurisdictional lines, dodging court rulings, and, according to Rymir's filings, enlisting lawyers who've used procedural sleight of hand to keep the case buried. Sound familiar?
Okay, I'll give y'all the tea. Let me tell you what I heard. What I heard is that over the next...
Now, with Macer entering the fray, we're no longer talking about an isolated incident. This is beginning to look like a pattern that Jay-Z has refused to publicly address. 2 separate individuals from different states, different upbringings, both claiming the same thing, that Jay-Z is their father, and that the world has been sold a sanitized version of his past. And the question on everyone's lips now is, what does Beyonce think about all this?
Jay-Z got his ass whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You gotta the feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
Whispers from the inner circle suggest that Queen Bey is not pleased. In fact, multiple industry sources claim she's reached her breaking point. We're hearing rumors of shouting matches behind closed doors, of crisis meetings at Rock Nation, of damage control spin cycles in overdrive. The idea of Beyoncé issuing an ultimatum doesn't sound far-fetched anymore. According to insiders, she's reportedly demanding that Jay-Z take definitive action, submit to DNA tests, and put this humiliation to rest, once and for all. But that's the problem, isn't it? If he takes the test and it proves what Macer and Satterthwaite both claim, the fallout could be catastrophic. Not just for his marriage, not just for his reputation, but for the billion-dollar Carter brand that relies on its image of polished perfection. And if he refuses, well, that silence may start to speak louder than any denial ever could. From the outside, it might look like another messy celebrity scandal, but to those involved, it's a reckoning. Because if LaTesha Macer is telling the truth, and she says she has DNA results ready to go, then Jay-Z isn't just facing a paternity issue, he's facing a legacy crisis. The kind that doesn't get swept away with a clever lyric or a backroom settlement. The kind that digs into who you are and what you stand for when no one's watching.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
We're not talking about a tabloid rumor anymore. We're talking about a woman who has lived in silence for nearly 3 decades, whose family has backed her every step of the way, and who now says, without blinking, that she is the first daughter of Jay-Z. She's done being hidden. She's done playing by unspoken rules, and judging by the tone of her posts, she's just getting started. This is no longer just about Mecca. It's about a larger storm gathering around Jay-Z, one that's beginning to sweep in every skeleton from the pre-Beyoncé era and threatening to leave nothing untouched. From secret houses in small-town Maryland to court filings buried in bureaucratic chaos, from whispers about hush money to rumors of silent acknowledgments, this situation has spiraled into something the Carter empire may not be able to contain.
That would be something I really would want to find out because, in the future.
And as this new paternity claim stirs up the embers of old lawsuits and unanswered questions, there's a chilling undercurrent running through all of it. What if there's more? What if LaTesha and Ramir aren't the only ones? According to a former Rockefeller employee, several women over the years have been quietly dismissed after raising similar claims. The allegations never made it to the press. Until now. One source claims that settlements were offered in exchange for silence and signatures. NDA after NDA, money moved through intermediaries, and stories vanished overnight. But in the social media era, nothing disappears for long. And Macer? She's already gone viral.
Lives, and we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
We've also heard that Beyoncé's legal team has started prepping for every possibility, from divorce optics to co-parenting contingencies to brand distancing if the worst-case scenario plays out. She's reportedly holding the line, but insiders claim she's done playing the understanding wife. Remember, this isn't her first time dealing with betrayal, but it might be her last time tolerating it. And in the middle of it all, Jay-Z, hip-hop's godfather, the man who built an empire from the Marcy Projects to Madison Square Garden, isn't saying a word. No comment, no denial, no DNA test. This isn't just a personal crisis for Jay-Z. It's a battle for his legacy, his marriage, and his public image. And the clock is ticking.
Never got anything, so why wouldn't I believe my mom? We could have been settled this, and it only takes a conversation and some words, I'm not a hateful guy. I don't hate anyone. I'm not after nobody. I'm not trying to see no one downfall. But this is just some things that just went through court, and they just expected me to just sit there and just take what they were saying. I can't do that because.
So why won't Jay-Z just take the tests? That's the question echoing louder than ever across social media, legal forums, and hip-hop circles. If he has nothing to hide, what's the holdup? Fans are asking whether this is really about protecting his privacy or protecting something far more damaging. With not one but 2 paternity claims trailing him, the refusal to submit to DNA testing doesn't look like confidence, it looks like fear. And it's a fear that's casting a long shadow over his carefully curated image as a truth teller and community leader.
In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?"
Behind the curtain, it's not just silence. It's legal muscle. Rymir Satterthwaite's filings accuse Jay-Z's attorneys of deploying a coordinated campaign to block discovery, delay hearings, and obstruct access to relevant records. One case was dismissed based on a jurisdictional technicality that Jay-Z's legal team reportedly exploited by misrepresenting property ties in New Jersey. Even the judge admitted that one of Jay-Z's lawyers misspoke when she claimed he had no connections in the state. That mistake just happened to keep Jay-Z from being compelled to take a DNA test. Coincidence? That's what they want us to believe.
This is not just about me. If I gotta fight for all of us, I will, but I won't let the court systems just walk over me. I won't let Jay-Z, I won't let no one just walk over me and tell me something because y'all just saying this. I want the truth. And if we can't go to the Supreme Courts, the regular courts, to find out the truth, what are they here for?
Yeah, all right. We'll get to the legal things that you've been through, the battles. But before that...
Meanwhile, the court saga has stretched on for over a decade. Rymir's team claims that sealed files, wrongful sanctions, and constitutional rights violations have all worked in Jay-Z's favor. Every time Rymir's mother, his guardian, or his attorneys pushed forward, someone pushed back harder. Records sealed, motions denied, attorneys hung up on. The courts have bounced the case from Pennsylvania to New Jersey and now to California, and still, no one's gotten a straight answer. All Rymir says he wants is the truth, and Jay-Z's response? A wall of silence and a legal statement calling it all a decades-long campaign of harassment. But if this is just harassment, why the heavy legal firepower? Why invest so much time, money, and influence if the answer is as simple as, the kid ain't mine? Even Jay-Z seemed to allude to the situation in his lyrics. In Heard About Us, he raps, Billie Jean in his prime, for the 1000th time, the kid ain't mine. But clever bars don't hold up in court, and so far nothing has proven or disproven the claim. And that silence? It's starting to sound like strategy.
Is it really a conspiracy if the same person keeps benefiting off the same kind of tragedy over and over?
According to a former Rockefeller employee, Jay-Z's camp has a well-rehearsed playbook. Deny, delay, distract. Keep things buried under paperwork, confuse the jurisdiction, and outlast anyone who tries to make it to the finish line. Allegedly, it's the same method used in past situations, only now it's not working. Social media is a different beast. LaTesha Macer didn't go to court, she went to Instagram. She brought her truth directly to the public. And she isn't alone anymore. Beyonce, for her part, has said nothing publicly, but insiders say her silence is anything but passive. According to multiple sources close to the Carter inner circle, Beyonce has been methodically planning her next steps. She's not screaming, she's not storming out, she's calculating. One associate described it as a quiet chess game. Every move precise, every piece in motion. If Jay-Z thinks he's weathered storms before, this one may be different. We've seen Beyonce endure public humiliation once already. The Lemonade era laid bare her emotional pain, her disappointment, and her decision to stand by her man. But this isn't just about betrayal, it's about secrets, allegedly hidden children, NDA deals, property bought in silence, entire lives erased from the narrative. And for someone who's built a brand on female empowerment, truth, and loyalty, the optics are getting harder to manage.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
Some industry observers believe Beyonce has already drawn her line in the sand. Behind the scenes, sources claim she's demanded transparency and a clean resolution. One reported ultimatum, take the DNA test or lose everything. Others suggest she's simply waiting, giving Jay-Z the rope to either clear his name or hang his reputation. Could this be the quiet beginning of a public split? A solo rebranding effort from Beyonce, the visual album that says it all without saying a word? If anyone knows how to own the narrative, it's her. And make no mistake, this isn't just a family matter anymore, it's a reputational crisis. Jay-Z has spent the past decade positioning himself as a voice for justice and accountability. From prison reform to social equity, he's played the role of cultural conscience. But now, critics are asking how a man who won't even confirm paternity for 2 possible children can demand integrity from the system. Is he protecting his rights or just protecting his empire?
Best of both worlds. Nobody talks about that.
Nobody talks about this shit.
Nobody talks about that project.
That nigga swept that smooth under the rug.
Why?
One entertainment lawyer familiar with the Satterthwaite case told reporters off record that this is exactly the kind of thing that unravels legacies, not because of the children themselves, but because of the way it's handled. You don't get brought down by scandal, they said. You get brought down by the cover-up. And when the cover-up includes alleged legal fraud, sealed evidence, and gag orders that don't officially exist, people start to ask, what else is being hidden? Public pressure is mounting. Social media is dissecting every silence, every lyric, every lawyer's quote. Fans who once idolized Jay-Z are now openly questioning him, not just for what he might have done in the 1990s, but for what he's doing now, for refusing to take two simple tests that could provide peace, clarity, and closure to two people who say they've lived their entire lives as ghosts in his story. And the timing couldn't be worse. With the lawsuits piling up, Diddy behind bars, and the past catching up to multiple power players from the hip-hop golden era, Jay-Z is standing on unstable ground. Former insiders say this could be the start of a reckoning, not just for him, but for the entire image that's been built around him. Clean, sharp, untouchable. But behind the scenes, allegedly aggressive lawyers, NDA payouts, and a decades-long web of avoidance.
As far as, is he going to turn people in? Is he going to cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're going to cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he had to, he won't get out until 70 years old. He about 70. That's when they start talking about letting him come to a halfway house.
We've even heard that private investigators have been poking around, trying to verify property transactions, financial support trails, and secretive communications with the Macer and Satterthwaite families. If those receipts surface, the narrative could shift dramatically, from denial to confirmation, from protection to betrayal. The truth, once it begins to leak, tends to spread fast, and when it does, not even billions of dollars and a flawless PR machine can stop it.
But what I've heard about them as a couple is that they've been living separate lives for a very long time.
So where does this leave Beyonce? Insiders say she's surrounded by her own legal team, crisis experts, and family advisors. One source close to her brand hinted that she's already building a parallel track, something that could stand on its own, independent of the Carter name. She's been playing the long game for years, quietly carving out power, ownership, and leverage. And if push comes to shove, she's not going to blink. She'll move decisively, globally, and on her terms. As the walls close in, Jay-Z faces mounting pressure to confront the claims head-on. But will he rise to the occasion? Or will this be the scandal that finally unravels everything he's built? One thing is certain, the truth always finds a way to surface. And when it does, the fallout could be catastrophic. What do you think? Is this the beginning of Jay-Z's downfall? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and remember, in the world of fame and power, nothing stays buried forever.